with Khabib, because then that kicks off the other news. So Khabib is officially retired. He retired, and Dana White's been pressuring him, trying to get him back for a fight. He maintained, I'm never coming back. Like, I'm done. I'm finished. And Dana finally relented and was like, okay, you're done. Let's make it official. He made an announcement on the weekend as part of the Vegas UFC Fight Night 22 card. So Khabib done, finishes his career 29-0. We put the question here, pound for pound, we consider him the GOAT in UFC? Thoughts, boys?
Definitely an argument for it to be, for him to be the GOAT. It's one of those ones I was saying to you before the show. It's not like Bradman in cricket or Brady in the NFL. It's one of those ones that's up in the air, and different weight classes as well. It's such a new sport.
It makes for the best conversation because it's purely what your opinion is, because there's no definitive answer.
No, there is no right or wrong answer here. 29-0 speaks for itself, really. The bloke never lost.
So I think we've named three guys. I think are probably the only ones you can put into that kind of conversation. So we've got John Jones, who, of course, won the light heavyweight belt and has defended it 10 times.
It'd be close.
Be close to that.
I'll pull that up.
Find out that. Who's now going up and chasing the heavyweight belt. So I'd say
he's walking around at 250 apparently at the moment.
Yeah, he's been pound for pound best fighter, talent-wise, in the UFC for the better part of the last decade.
Yeah, longer.
Yeah, at least 6 or 7 years, I'd say. So he's, and of course, had his run-ins with the law, etc. But that run he's had in domination of very good quality fighters probably puts him up there. He was pound for pound ranked number one for a very, very long time as well.
If you don't mind, he has defended the light heavyweight championship 12 times.
12 times, so 12 title defenses.
Yeah.
Then you got GSP, who...
And he won it, sorry to talk over you, against Rua in 2011.
Yes.
So Shogun Rua, like, you feel like he's been out of the game for a long time. So he's held the light heavyweight championship
on and off for 10 years, but
and
but not defeated.
The only times he's lost it is when he's been pinged for performance enhancers or bad behaviour, and that's where the big question mark, I suppose, is with John Jones.
Yes. How bad are those dick pills? And
his only loss was that downward elbow against Matt Hamill, those illegal elbows back in 2009. He's never really been
in a fight that
he's never beat.
Never lost.
He was handily winning that fight too. So everyone kind of considers that he was going to win that.
Yeah. So
you got that. Then you've got GSP, who had 9 title defenses and then won belts in 2 different divisions, and when it won the second belt after retaring for almost 3 years, I think it was. So great stats for him. And then you got Anderson Silva, who probably has more of a performance drug related
he's got the
cloud
asterisk against his name as well.
But I think of all of them, he's had the most title defenses in the middleweight division. I think he defended that belt over 12. I thought it was more than that.
He'd have the most losses as well, wouldn't he?
Of the lot, yes.
Well, he's 34-11, so his record, we were saying towards the end, he's sort of those guys that maybe held on a little bit too long.
Yeah. He fought a lot longer into the later years where he kind of went away from
So when it comes to, and for me, love Anderson, love Spider, did a lot for the sport, but I don't think he's in the conversation for mine. I'm glad we mentioned it. But yeah, for me, it's a 3-horse race, I think, between Khabib, Jones, and GSP.
Work out how many
I guess
title defenses
is Khabib's big his big question mark is he only had four title defenses, was it?
3.
Yeah, so
3.
3. So
as a comparison, he only defended that title 3 times. Versus we got it there as versus G 9, but John Jones with 12.
I think I've got Silva at 16.
Yeah.
16 title offences.
Yeah, so some of those weren't like...
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
2006 through to 2013.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, almost a decade as champion as well. So
that's fighting twice a year as well, defending it.
Yep. Yeah. So I think Anderson Silva, some of those fights aren't well loved just because of the way they kind of went. He wasn't that flashy in some of them compared to, say, John Jones, who finished a bunch of blokes. But, John, in his last, 3 all went to decision. So he's not like finishing blokes. But either way, like the numbers, they just stack up. So the resumes just look better than, say, what Khabib had done. If Khabib, because he only got this belt 2 years ago.
Yeah, he first won it in April 2018, so just nearly 3 years ago.
3 years.
Yep.
We'll lose a year, of course, for last year. There wasn't overly much fighting happening. He wasn't traveling. If he hanged around fighting for 10 years, he's got that belt and then he defended that for, how old is he?
He's not that old. He's
late 20s?
No, I think he's in his 30s. He's 32.
Yeah. So say he fought for the next 4 years at that kind of level.
Different story.
Another 8. He could over 10 title defenses. Maybe he then goes to welterweight as well. Or by that time they have that 165 division where he could probably compete too. Then he gets into that kind of conversation. But I think just what the other boys have done, amount of title defenses, the competition they've defended against, GSP winning 2 belts. Anderson he went up and fought some guys, but he never fought for the light heavyweight belt. But if Jones goes and does it, wins the heavyweight belt, I don't think you can ever question Jones as the GOAT by that point.
And that's it.
At this point, I'd say GSP 1, Jones 2.
GSP.
Yeah, I'd say GSP 1 now, Jones 2, where he could possibly go to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jones is on the fast track to go to 1.
The Jones story hasn't finished yet.
I'd even put Anderson above Khabib. I'd go Anderson 3 and then Khabib 4.
Wow. So a guy that never lost isn't.
But I put a big asterisk on Anderson Silva as well.
And there has to be an asterisk on Jones as well.
Sorry, I'll got to correct myself. It was 10 successful defense of the titles. He had 16 wins in a row.
Okay,
that's a long streak.
And that is a big difference as well, because we're talking about Jones had what
12
and 9 for GSP. Yeah, I think the saga's not over for Bones Jones. That's where he's going to be able to really put his name on it. But the asterisk is a big thing. There's 4 guys that we've mentioned, and there's asterisks next to Bones and next to Spider Silva.
I think Silva definitely had the strong stick pills, which probably maybe helped him a little bit, but of course towards the back end of his career. Jones, I think, the whole peptide thing and I don't know how to say it.
Scintillating this conversation.
Anyway, the not the microdosing, but the pulsing of the up and down, like he'd test positive and then not test positive. It's such a minute number. Like the comparison was, it's a grain of salt in a swimming pool. Like it's barely anything in comparison to the overall his body. It's not helping him. The science there is all kind of iffy, and the USADA and WADA kind of trying to learn how do they actually test for that. There was a whole conversation about that, science that I don't understand.
I know something that's pulsating up and down at a minute number as well, but we won't go into that.
It's probably only 3 inches, but we'll move on. So